we would like to take a moment to recognize 4 people who we think are just extraordinary in terms of showing us the way to healing and renewal for our community. And I'd like to call on Sister Donna Green to Jimmy Moore. Would you please stand?
Yes.
Jimmy Moore is passionate. He's passionate in African children. He has a purpose. He likes to say, and because of that, his whole agenda is to build villages for our children to flourish in, not just to grow and to develop. He has spent time working with students and working with children. He has worked part of what we call the dialogue teaching, that as a teacher, helping young people work their homework. He is also the president of the Black Parent Teacher Organization here in New England. And in his daily life and his daily work, he helps our children to believe in themselves, not just consistently goes beyond the call. He goes beyond what's required of him. He makes sacrifices for our children. That's a part of the healing process. Mr. Moore has chaired the curriculum committee for the former name Helen Burroughs School at Community Baptist Church. He has been actively involved in doing programming at WYDC. So,
Yes.
Today, the Community Healing Network would like to thank you, and we honor you and applaud you for leading the way among the path to emotional healing and renewal for our Black community. Would you please come forward?
So, know thyself. Know thyself historically. Know thyself physically, emotionally, intellectually. Because what I noticed is that, as Maya Angelou deemed in a piece that she did, and she said that nothing was worse than a young cynic, because it means they've gone from knowing nothing to believing nothing. And that's where so many of our children are. And it's trying to convince them that they have worth, because everything that they see tells them that they do not. So if there's anything, and listening to you and saying, no, we can't rush that sister, that's valuable information, because so many don't know that, and because they don't know. And it's funny, about 60% of my attire is African-centered, and it's amazing how children relate to that. And they come up to me all the time, are you African? I said, yes, and so are you. No, I ain't. And we have to get into a discussion. And so when you look in all of the things that you said, I'm like, they hadn't been the post-traumatic slave syndrome. So I thank you for giving it a name. So now we know the name, and now we can further work on that. So I applaud your efforts. Thank you ever so much.
Since 1972, as a small child, she knew that she was born to teach. And she has spent so much of her life teaching our young people. And she has chosen the universal theme of music in which to teach our children. She organized the Martin Luther King School Choir and the Helene Wegg School Choirs, directing, traveling, and exposing those children to wonderful educational experiences which allowed them to interact with local, national, and international leaders. In 1997, she founded the Unity Boys Choir, which promotes social development and strong emphasis on building self-worth, unity, and respect for all ages. Those young men range from ages 3 to 22. One of those young men were here, part of one who still is. Yes, part of the Unity Boys. In her daily life, Mrs. Perkins helps our children to believe in themselves, and she goes beyond the call, beyond the pale, to make sure our children are well mannered, that they feel strong, that they develop well. So Ms. Perkins, we say to you, thank you on behalf of the community here, and we honor you, and we applaud you for leading the way along the path to emotional healing and renewal of our Black communities. Thank you.
Everyone that's here, and especially to John Jr., thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your life and your story with us. And that's the aspect that I will speak from. I still share my stories. I'm not ashamed of where I've come from. I must tell you that I've experienced 9 miraculous healings in my body. I'm here on this earth for a reason. When the doctor looked at me as I walked into the hospital in 12th grade, lying in the hospital, he looked at my mother to take her home. She has an upset stomach. From his desk, he said, I have a story. I tell it. That's how I can capture the attention of my kids. That's how I can promote self-worth. Because I promised to my Father, who's allowed me to live this long, and will give me strength, because my desire is give me work till my life is over, and life till my work is over, and let it be with children. So that's why I tell my story. That's the vehicle that I use, because then I can instill in them that if I made it, with a father dying before I was 4. If I made it with a mother who raised 5 children, if I made it with having to borrow my first semester of tuition, and yet going on many years to acquire more in the realm of education, they can too. If I work for $3 a day, they can make more than that now. So I tell my story, and I thank you for bringing out your story, your book, and we'll read it and share with these young men. And the very word that I was taught years ago that has allowed me to accomplish so much in life is respect. If we can respect in the home, because that's where it starts first, we can respect in the community. Right. I better stop because I'm very full. She says, is it okay? Her research is on respect. And that's the #1 word we use with our young men. And as they said, they've gone before international figures. And I thank God for the assignment. The first time I heard of the best kept secret of the Hill Health Center, an awesome pediatrician. He provides care to individual children and helps guide parents in doing the most challenging job in the world, that's raising the next generation. He is consistently going beyond the call of duty to inspire children and parents to lift their sights and to lift their spirits. For all this and more, we thank you on behalf of the Community Healing Network, and we honor you and we applaud you in leading the way along the path to emotional healing and renewal in the Black community. Dr. Linda.
I remember meeting and one of the early care messages, our parents as first teachers. And this has become a theme that has resonated throughout the city and the state and the country. But the next step, and I brought out, is that healing parents. And I always smile because at a council meeting or an assembly, I would always talk to other people who had PhDs and master's degrees, or physicians or MDs, and we all love school. I mean, we loved it so much we stayed in it for 20, 25 years. But there are parents out there who did not have a successful child in school, who hated school. And some of those parents now those parents have children. And what they want to do is to make a difference for their own child. But they also anger, because they're fighting the battles that they lost as children. And what they want to do is that they want a better life for their child. So they need to heal their anger and then engage the education and force the teachers, force the education system to give the education that they were denied. One question. The other issue is I get to see the kids at 2 weeks. So I get to see the kids very early on and very frequently. And one mom, in closing, one mom said, but why do you always tell me that I'm doing good? And I said, because there's the world out there that's telling you what a bad parent you are. And your child, you come to all your well child visits, the immunizations are up to date, the child is 50th percentile for height and weight, you're feeding the child well, the child is engaged, you're doing what is necessary to be a good parent. Everything else, whether or not he's in fancy clothes or has fancy food, everything else is commentary. And so that's the important issue for a parent. It doesn't take a lot, but you have to be there. And many of the parents that I take care of and the children I take care of have parents who are there.
Of the New Haven Family Alliance. They focus on improving the quality of life for families in New Haven, and the Alliance respects, supports, and empowers families at all stages of development to become healthy and self-sufficient. Barbara Tenney leads that organization to work throughout New Haven and offers intensive family preservation and reunification services. And they also have the Male Involvement Network, which supports low-income, non-custodial fathers and their efforts to be involved parents and community assets by providing comprehensive services to empower fathers to become nurturing and responsible forces in their children's lives. In her daily work and life, Barbara Tenney is working to build a stronger, healthier, more whole village to support families and children. She has consistently gone beyond the call of duty to inspire parents and children to lift their spirits and to lift their sights. For this and more, we thank you on behalf of the Community Healing Network, and we honor and applaud you for your leading the way along the path to emotional healing and renewal in the Black community. Barbara Tenney.
Well, I want to just say thank you. I am just overwhelmed with such a gratitude, and there's just so much emotion when I am engaged by Enola, and I wanted to speak to a couple of things I heard today, because one of the, in addition to working with poor fathers, this is a myth out there that Black men don't care about their children, aren't engaged with their children, are irresponsible when it comes to their children. And it's truly a myth. I mean, it's a dangerous, vicious myth. In addition to that, though, in addition to the work that we do with our fathers, we also work with young people in an effort to eliminate youth gun violence. And most of the youngsters that we work with are young African American men. There have been there are about 400 shootings, city of New Haven, in the last 3 or 4 years. There have been at least 13 homicides this year alone, most of them young African Americans. There's a picture I want to send you of a young 24-year-old man who was shot in your community on Kensington Street by another young Black man. He was slumped over his front steps for 5 hours. From 4:30 in the morning until 9:30. The police officers carving off the area with their yellow tape, but they didn't cover his body. They didn't cover his body because they were waiting for the medical exam. As Lisa says, what they told his very distraught mother and the rest of the community residents on that particular street who were out at 4:30 as if it were the middle of the day because of this traumatic experience. But these white officers behaved as if we did not know, that we were incapable of it. They rationalized it, they justified it. We called the mayor's office, they were outraged. But nothing happened. And so we at Clifford Beers, I don't know if you're familiar with Clifford Beers, it's a child guidance clinic, decided that we needed to acknowledge that community's grief. We have a city full of neighborhoods that are experiencing complex trauma at the community level. And we gathered some folks together and we said to this mother, we are sorry for your loss. We have not said to any of the families, we didn't do the regular kind of family thing, but we have not said to any of the communities or to any of the families who have lost these children that we are sorry for your loss. So it's no longer, we also get, and I'm going to stop, we also get a report, and we don't get it anymore, because I probably talked about it too much. We also get a report from the police department. It's a daily crime statistics, and they list all the crimes. And at the end of every report, there's this category of crime. There's this category of crime they call unlawful discharge. Now, essentially what that means is that there's this these gunshots that happen in neighborhoods where no one's shot. You know, but it's just a random discharge of gunfire. And it happens in particular neighborhoods. It happens in the African American communities. It happens in African American neighborhoods. Where else do you experience random gunfire on a regular basis? When else? But we're not. Well, our communities are traumatized. We are not capable of, and this is 2008. So it's important. So we've decided that we are going to try to mobilize our community so that when children get shot in our community, we go to these families and we say to them, we are sorry for your loss. I don't care who these kids are, what they may have done. Because those 300 to 400 shootings, those are black on black shootings. These kids don't go into, well, they're wandering over the boundaries, but more often than not, they don't go into the white community because of that vacant esteem. It's not low self-esteem is not ghetto. They don't go, and they will say to you, oh, I'm not, you know. And if they do go downtown to Gotham, they shoot each other still. So I'm going to stop right now. I mean, so this, community healing, could it be more necessary at any other point in time, at least in our history here? We need to heal so that
Thank you. Literally are becoming, I'm sorry, dysfunctional.
No. I want to ask you a question once you're through.
Okay, yeah, I want to just close with this part. There is something, and I know the doctor here will readily acknowledge this. One of the things that they discovered, years ago we used to say, grandma just used to say, but don't upset that pregnant woman. Don't get her mad because that'll affect the baby. We now know it does affect the baby because we know stress hormones can pass through the mother, through the umbilical cord to the infant. What that stress hormone produces is cortisol. Cortisol and abnormal amounts of cortisol produce certain behaviors, particularly from 0 to 5 in children. So when children are in highly stressful environments, better known as drama, okay, let's just keep it real so we don't get too clinical. How many people got a little drama going on right now? Okay, I got drama going on right now, got some waiting at home. Right? So we have an inordinate amount of drama going on. Where those children are reacting not only mentally, emotionally, socially, but chemically and physically, they're impacted by that. And what happens is after a while, they start tripping it. Have you ever seen groups of young black kids together? Nothing's wrong, but you can feel it. It's like a fever pitch. Something has to jump off. It has got teeth and then fall. And that is when cortisol is operating, when it floods the brain. The way cortisol works, it's really a survival mechanism. It produces fight or flight. So if a truck is coming near me right now, jumps the curb, my brain does something very odd. It floods my brain with cortisol, which locks my ability to access the reasoning parts of my brain. It's not accessible to me. All the energy goes into my muscles to move me from that spot. So I find myself on the other side of the street. You say, Joy, what happened? I said, I don't remember anything after seeing the truck. I don't even remember how I got there. Because that part of my brain was not accessible to me. Because I felt the trauma, the stress, it kicked off the cortisol, that's what I did. Well, if you're in constant situation of stress, they trigger it themselves after a while. It becomes habitual. So if nothing is triggering it, they will trigger it. Do you follow me? So let me tell you what that looks like. Classroom. Shaquisha, baby, I need you to pick up your book. Why you want me to pick up the book? You don't ask nobody else to pick up the book. I'm sick of this. You make me sick. All of a sudden, and you're looking at this and you're going, my God, what triggered that? Because I didn't do anything. Now remember, I got some cortisol jumping off of my body too. That could end up being, and a matter of fact, it was on a YouTube the teacher fighting, right? Because we all have it, that ever-present stuff. And so what happens then is the more you confront LaQuisha, it's going to escalate because she doesn't have access to what? Reason. There ain't no reason, ain't no lights on right now. But I'm going to whoop you up if you keep coming north to me. And so what happens is it escalates, there's a problem, she's expelled, all that. So here's what I learned, because I know our children are living in these environments that are so